Welcome to Geek on Film with your host, Robbie Holmes. Hey there. Welcome to episode 16 of season 3 of Geek on Film. I'm Robbie, and today I am going to be reviewing Ballerina, the latest film in the John Wickiverse. This film is written by Shay Hatton and Derek Kolstad, and it is directed by Len Wiseman. Our friends at IMDb have the summary as: an assassin trained in the traditions of the Ruska Roma organization sets out to seek revenge after her father's death. I will give my quick review from Letterboxd. I gave it 3 stars, no heart. I said it's a decent film in the Wickiverse. Ana de Armas is physically capable and strikingly beautiful, but doesn't have a ton of presence. A bit underwhelming, but competent. I wish they had trusted in their casting and not required so much John Wick in Act 3 of this film, or cast and wrote it more engaging, so it wasn't a requirement. Let's go back to some of the cast. So the Ballerina is played by Ana de Armas. She plays Eve Macaro, who's training at the Ruska Romanov. Angelica Houston is the director and the leader, known as the director. She's the leader of the Ruska Romov, a New York-based organization of ballerina assassins. Let's see who else. We have Gabriel Byrne is playing the Chancellor, an antagonist of the film, and the leader of a dangerous cult of assassins based in Hallstatt. Lance Reddick as Charon, the concierge at the Continental Hotel in New York, and it is his last appearance in these films as Charon. He is sort of been a staple of the John Wick movies from the very beginning. So I'm glad he was able to at least be in this film to support the next endeavors in this space. Norman Reedus plays a character called Daniel Pine, who's an assassin, and the Chancellor's son, who is escaping from the cult. Let's see who else. There's Catalina Sandino Moreno playing Lena. She's one of the assassins working for the Chancellor. Ian McShay is back as Winston Scott, playing the owner of the New York Continental Hotel, and a friend of John Wick's. And of course, Keanu Reeves has returned as John Wick. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this movie. So the movie opens up with a flashback sequence where we see Eve Macaro's father protecting her from people who have these scarred tattoos on their wrists, like big X's. And that leads to an entire sequence where her father eventually gets defeated and is told that if he kills himself, they'll let his daughter live. And that, of course, doesn't go over well. Eventually, Eve gets away from this and kills his guard, the guard who is protecting his father. And that leads to her father has been fatally wounded, and she eventually ends up in the hands of Winston Scott. And Winston Scott brings her to the Ruska Roma, where she meets the director and agrees to eventually to join them. She trains there for 12 years. She eventually gets her first couple of missions. You can see she's working it out. It's sort of a new assassin. She kind of gets her butt handed to her, but that's not abnormal in the Wickiverse. John gets his butt handed to him an awful lot. But in the process, she eventually finds someone with the same scars as the men who killed her father. This leads her on a mission to try to figure out who they are. She eventually lands on the fact that they are a cult that is located in the town of Hallstatt. When she finally makes her way there, she finds that everyone in the town is a member of the cult, and chaos truly ensues. Eventually, Ruska Roma is mad at her about disobeying the director, and the director calls in a favor and sends John Wick there to either put an end to this or to help her, is what it feels like. And he chooses to give her the time to close out what she is trying to accomplish. I think that, like I said in my review, the movie is good. It's far from great. I think it feels a little messy, a little bolted back and forth together. I feel like the character that we meet played by Norman Reedus. Daniel Pine feels like he should have been or could have been a much larger portion of the movie. I don't know why you would cast a Norman Reedus in a movie to only have him have about 6 or 7 minutes of screen time totally. Doesn't make sense. There's been a lot of rumors of reshoots and lots of things going on there. I truly feel like this movie just suffered from a lack of confidence in people coming out for an Ana de Armas action film, and they shouldn't have felt that way. I think she did a great job with those sequences, especially. I think the bigger problem is that the character of Eve was written pretty flatly. Ana de Armas doesn't have enough to carry off a character that doesn't give her a ton to work with. I think that she did as good as she could have given the script she was handed. It's truly impressive what she's able to pull off in this movie. I think this would have been, I think it's a 3-star film at this point. It could have been 3.5 to 4 stars with no Keanu and a slightly better script for Anna to work from. So it is not anything against her as an actress. I just think she was not really set up for success. And I think that the trailers and the heavy leaning on John Wick as sort of the assassin fairy godfather felt a little unnecessary. I like the movie. I didn't love the movie. I think there will be more of these movies, even though I think it is not on a track to make back all of its money here in the US. I know that they have sold a bunch of their international rights. So I expect that our friends at Lionsgate will be back at it with Wickiverse movies. Maybe next up will be the Donnie Yen film that we've been promised, or John Wick 5. Yeah, I think overarchingly, I would give this a positive grade. I think there's a lot missing from this movie and could have done more. The other one is it sounded a lot like Chad Stahelski came back and shot a couple of scenes to sort of make it feel more like a John Wick movie. As of now, I think it's at $91.9 million in its box office, and its budget was around 90. So it may close out basically doubling that number in the US, but I think, it may overarchingly double its budget in the box office, but I don't know that I would classify it as a huge financial success just on ticket sales, but I think it'll get there with PVOD, with its international stuff. So, I expect them to figure this out. I also expect them to have to start slotting out a few of the actors that are playing roles here that are either no longer with us or really aging out of these roles. I would be surprised if you see Ian McShane and Angelica Houston in many more of these movies. I think they missed the ball with Norman Reedus. I think he has a gruff charm and appeal that they could have leveraged a lot more, especially against the beauty and grace of Ana de Armas. I wish that the ballerina component of her training had more to do with the way she fought. I'm trying to think of any of the other things that really stuck with me from this film. I think you should give it a shot. I think you should see it on a big screen. But I would not be surprised if you had a similar experience to me, or that when you saw it at home, you were like, yeah, pretty good. I think we need more pretty goods. I'm glad they made this movie. I wish they had trusted a little bit more in either the existing script or the script from the rewrites had been rewritten completely, or that they had figured out what to do with Norman Reedus. I can walk away from this feeling very confidently that it is a rock solid 3-star film, and you should probably see it. This has been a Geek on Film podcast. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.